Hello and welcome. I've been showing you Sherwood game published by the French company Historicone, and today I would like to show you my first playthrough of this game. Sherwood comes with a couple of scenarios and initial ones are kinda tutorial ones. They are pretty small with limited number of rules, and I think they can be quite good to show you how this game works step by step. First of all, this game, or rather I should say this system, which is called Norman Saga, has three sets of rules. First of them, as it can be called introductory rule, is 1 page long, and it can be played even with your 7-year-old kids without much problems. And it is very basic, and I don't think I ever need to show you this in my videos. Second, that are standard rules, are the core of the Sherwood, and they are also quite easy. They are 4 pages long, and again, this is something that it won't take long for you to understand. And there are something called advanced rules that are not included in this game. They can be download from the publisher's site in PDF, or they are in the physical version in some of the big games of this system, and they are definitely longer. They are about 30 pages long, and they are much more detailed. Sherwood is, as publishers say, introductory game, and it is meant to play it with this standard 4 pages long rules, and I am going to use them for now. Maybe in my further videos I might use these advanced rules someday. We will see. I will start with scenario 1, which is called Cheeky Alan Adale. And the main character of this scenario is Alan Adale, a cheerful bard who was, what is interesting, pretty late addition to the Robin Hood tales. He appeared in these tales somehow in the 16th, 17th centuries, and he was often pictured as a bard who sang his songs for the Robin Hood and his merry men, and he was in love with the daughter of the noble, who wanted to marry her to some old knight. And of course Robin Hood helped Alan to marry his beloved. In the later versions, Alan was sometimes pictured as a son of the knight who is in love with the daughter of Sheriff of Nottingham, and Alan is sometimes pictured as a brother of Lady Marian, who was love of Robin Hood. But in this game we have a quite orthodox version of Robin Hood, where Alan is still a bard, and in this scenario he sings his songs in the inn, but sheriff's men are not very pleased because of that, because he sings something bad about them or their boss, so they come to arrest him. But local men are not very pleased of that and want to protect their friend. So, let's start about game rules and mechanics. Each hex is about 2 meters of space, and each counter represents one single person. And each character has at last 2 counters, sometimes even more, but mostly 2. And we have a couple of informations on this counter. Let's start with Friar Tuck. And first we have 2 combat informations. This above, which is black, is a person's attack strength. So Friar Tuck has a strength of 7. Here we have his defense, which is red number, and it is 4. Here we have his movement value, which is blue, and it is 8 for him. Next we have a graphic that depicts him. Graphics in this game are very nice. They are a bit old school, yeah, but I really like them. They make this game pretty unique. And next we have his name, and here we have 3 letters. that give us some more information about the character. First letter, a big letter, that tells us the fraction he is. So we have two fractions in this game. One is called Normans, and they have N, like this walker, or we have Saxons, they have X. Next, we have a second, as we can call a middle letter, that tells us what kind of unit he is when it comes to his movement ability. There are two possible letters here. E, which is for infantry, or, let me find something, or C, like you can see for the Robin, which is for cavalry. It doesn't mean that he's cavalry per se, but it means that he has also his counter that shows him mounted. Like, for example, here we have a Robin Hood on his foot version, and here we have his mounted counter. We don't use mounted counters in this scenario because we don't have any mounted units in this scenario. We have only infantry units. And finally, we have third letter that tells us the class of the character. So most of them here have C. This means they are civilians. They are not soldiers, not any kind of warriors. They are simply civilians, but it doesn't mean they cannot fight. And here, these two guys have P. This means they are peasants. When it comes to the sheriff men, they are all L. This means they are light infantry. And now, each counter, like I said, each person, like I said, have usually two counters. Sometimes they have three counters if there is counter for their mounted version. And we don't use them here. So here we have these two counters for fire attack and Y. This is his normal version, which has a better statistics, and this is his wounded versions, which has a poorer statistics. And each character which is of the full strength can be stunned. If he is stunned, you can see there are no statistics at all, only a defense of 1. And if he is wounded, his counter is removed and replaced with the wounded version. And if he is wounded again, he is dead. But in this scenario, we won't use this because people are trying to protect Alan, yes, but they are not eager to die for him. So, if any of these men are wounded, they are instantly removed from the board. They are simply running away, afraid of what might happen to them, and they are not eager to fight anymore. So, about the scenario itself. It is pretty long. It takes 12 turns, and judging on my own experience, this is a bit too long because the board itself is pretty small. When it comes to me, I think this game really shines when you played it on the 3 or more boards. When you play on the one board, it becomes quite fast. And here we have only one board, so it will be pretty quick scenario. I never managed to finish it in the 12 turns. It usually ends with 4, 5, sometimes 6 turns. And what are the setup and the goals for the both sides? So, Alan, Mildred and one of the peasants starts in the inn. Madge, who is a blacksmith, starts in the forge. And the remaining characters start outside of the buildings, and they cannot be adjacent to any building and adjacent to each other. We have Friar Tuck, Isaac, who is a Jewish banker and the father of the Rebecca, who was a very important character of the Walter Scott's Ivanhoe. We have two peasants, Simon and Sybold. We have a barmaid which is Mildred, and of course Alan. And there are four sheriff's men who are all light infantrymen, and they can enter the board from any edge save to the edge 1. They cannot enter from this edge, and their goal is to capture Alan. If at any moment any of the sheriff's men are on the hex adjacent to Alan, and there are no any peasants who are also adjacent to them, then Alan is captured and sheriff's men win the day. If they will fail to do so until the end of the game, Alan is victorious, he's running away. Like I said, it's pretty long scenario, so I think that they are most probably going to capture him anyway, but we will see. Each turn is divided into a couple of phases, one for the player A, who is always the first player, and the player B, who is the second player. And now, first phase is the missile fire phase. In this phase, any unit that can fire may do so, but in this scenario we don't have any units that have such ability, so no one is going to fire, and we will going to skip this phase in this scenario. In the second phase is the movement phase. In this phase, any units of the player A can move as they like. In the phase 3 is the combat phase. In this phase we can fight, but fight is not obligatory. You can attack units that are adjacent to you, but you don't have to. And finally we have a recovery phase. In this phase, any units of the player A that are stunned are recovered and back to normal. And next we have the same stuff for player B, and the turn is done. So, let us start the game, and we are starting in turn 1. Sheriff's men have initiative and they are player A, so let's go. Like I said, we have to skip missile phase, so we are starting with movement phase. In this game your facing doesn't matter. I believe that in the advanced version it might matter, but in these standard rules it only matters if you use mounted counters that have this triangle here. Otherwise, when it comes to foot units, it doesn't matter how your unit is faced. So 1, because you can see he has 8 movement points, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there is no zone of control in this game. However, when you are on the hex which is adjacent to the enemy unit and you want to move on another hex which is adjacent to this or any other enemy unit, you have to spend 2 additional movement points. So if Finn would like to move here on this hex, he would have to spend 3 movement points, and he already spent 7, so he cannot. So he will have to stay here next to the Friar Tuck. He moves towards him and said, "Move away, you old fart, we are not coming for you this time." But Friar Tuck holds his stick and says, "Thou shall not pass. Come on, my friends, let's stop this sheriff's man." So here comes Gibbo, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hey! Go on, Friar Tuck. Make us away. We are coming for this annoying brat Alan, not for you. And now here comes Walker. He moves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he faces Isaac. "Oi vey," says Isaac. "What are you doing here?" And now Martin comes from the north. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me mark that he spent 4 movement points. And now he comes next to the tavern. And tavern is quite an interesting building in this game, because it is 2-story building, and we have only 2nd story pictured here. We have no lower floor, and if you want to move onto the upper floor, you have to move up the stairs that are here, or climb up this balcony. But here, since stairs are here and they are open, then Martin moves on. It was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And he moves here and wants to go into the tavern and arrest Alan, but he sees Sybold, who is holding something very sharp and dangerous, and blocks the door. So Martin will have no other choice but to make his way through Sybold. So that's all when it comes to the movement phase, and now we have to go for the combat phase. In this phase you can attack any enemy characters that are adjacent to your own characters. So let's start with Walker. He's trying to attack Isaac. And now we have to resolve our attacks. How to resolve attacks? You have to take your own attack strength, which is for example here, of the value of 9, and next you have to reduce it by the enemy's defense. So it is 9 minus 2, so it's 7. So now you have to take combat table and you have to check what kind of unit you are attacking. Infantry or mounted. We have only infantry units here, so we will use the column combat against infantry. Next you are checking for the result. It was 9 versus 2, so it's 7, so it will be from 5 to 9. And next you make 1d10 roll to see the result. So we have 2, which is pretty good, because the lower the better. And now 2 in the 5-9 is W. Oh, that's bad. It means that Isaac was wounded. And normally it would mean we would have to replace him with the counter of his wounded version. As you can see, he lost his head. But, like I said, in this game there is a special rule that says that every wounded character is instantly eliminated, removed from the board. Oy vey! Don't hurt me! He cries and he runs away off the battlefield. And now, after the combat, if attacking unit was successful, he might make advance after combat, which allows him to move with the half of his movement points, but only he may enter the hex which was abandoned by the enemy first, and then he can move as he likes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how Walker goes. Next, let's check for Martin. He tries to go into the tavern. He has an attack of 10 minus the defense of 4. So this is 6. So it would be 5, 9, right? Yes. But he's attacking through the door. You can see there is a door here. And because of that, a defender gets the terrain advantage. This means we have to shift one column left. So it was 5, 9. So we will use a column of 0, 4 instead. So let's make a roll. Oh. And 3. That's again pretty good roll, I believe. 0, 4. This is R1. This means that all attackers retreat 1 hex. So he retreats here just to protect Alan. And now this dude enters the inn. He can move anywhere he wants, but he wants to stay here because he wants to get closer to this annoying minstrel Alan. And that's all for him. And now here, Finn and Gibbo are attacking Friar Tuck. They see that he doesn't want to give them pass, so they're going to kick him away. They are attacking him both. You don't have to attack with both characters at once. You can attack with the one character and then with another character, as you like. But it is usually beneficial to attack with 2 or more characters. You will see. So, they have to join their attack strength, so they have 10 and 10, so they have 20. Minus 4, so it is 16. So, this will be column of 10, 19. And if you are attacking with 2 characters against single character, you get advantage. This means we have to shift 1 column in the favor of the attacker, so we will use column of 20, 29 instead. Let's make a roll. It is 5. 5 in the 20, 29. It is stunned. This means that Friar Tuck is stunned and we have to flip his counter on the standard side. Okay, so that's all for the sheriff's man, and now we are going for the peasants. So he is stunned, he cannot do much, and now here comes the match. He is a blacksmith and he sees that they are kicking his friend Friar Tuck, so he wants to do something about it, and he moves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. He wants to block them way into the inn. Now Simon, he holds his side and wants to help a match. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He will help him to attack Walker. And now Mildred grabs her pan and moves over here to help Sybold to stop Martin entering into the inn. When it comes to the Alan, he wants to get out. He sees that he's in danger and staying in the inn might be dangerous for him. So he moves here, it is 1, and wants to jump out through the window outside of the inn. Jumping out costs you 4 movement points, so our bard spent 1 movement here, 1 movement point here, next 4 movement points to jump out, and 6 movement point to be here, but when you are jumping out, you have to make a roll to see if nothing dangerous happened to you. So let's make this roll. It is, oh hell, it's 8. This means that Alan falls literally on his head and he's stunned. Oh, that's very bad for him. Okay. Oh, so I think that the game might end even faster. Okay, so now let's go and resolve our attacks. First, Sybold and Mildred are attacking Martin. They have 6 and 9 and 3, so it's 9 against 6. So it's 3. This means we will use the column of 0, 4, but since there are 2 characters attacking 1 character, we get an advantage. So we will use a column of 5, 9. So let's make a roll. Oh, and they were extremely lucky. Sorry, extremely unlucky. Because in this game 0 is 10. So let's check. In the 5, 9, 0, 10, 0 is AR1. So attacker retreats 1 hex. Nah, that's bad. Looks like they failed to kick Martin away. And now Match and Simon are attacking Walker. They have a total of 18, 11 plus 7 versus 7, so it is 11. So we will use a column of 10, 9, 19, and plus 1 because they are 2 versus 1, so it will be 20, 29. So there is a solid chance they will manage to hit Walker hard. It is 2. Oh hell! I think they even overdid, because it is 2 in the 2029. It is K. This means that they killed this poor Walker. So we have to replace him with dead marker. I had to find it, and now he is done. Oh, I think that Simon tried to somehow distract him, and then Match grabbed his blacksmith hammer and literally smashed this poor guy's head and cracked his skull. So now they are going to. They don't want to advance because they want to block this path. So none of these sheriff's men will go on and will be able to capture stunned Alan. And now that's all for the attacks. And now we have recovery phase. So all the characters that are stunned are back to normal. Okay, so that's all. And this concludes turn 1. And now we are in the turn 2. Let's start with Sheriff's Men And well, they lost one of their men. That's pretty bad. So what are they going to do? And they see that Alan is not in the tavern. I think that this Martin probably saw that Alan is jumping away out of the window. Of course, he never noticed that Alan was actually stunned because he hit his head while jumping out. But well, he doesn't care. He wants to capture Alan. So now what is he going to do? He can pursue Alan through this window, or try to do so because Cybold is blocking his way, or he may try to jump away of the window too and try to move like that. I think this is the better option for him. So he moves here. This is one. Next, he spends 4 movement points to jump out, so it's 5, and enters this hex, so it's 6. And now I have to check if he managed to jump out of the window successfully. 1, he made it. So he still has 2 movement points to go. 1, 2. And he ignores the Mildred because they are on the different sides of the wall, and when you are on the different side of the wall, you don't have to worry about the character which is adjacent to you, because they are literally cannot see each other. And also Mildred is on the second floor and Martin is here on the level ground. Okay, so that's all for him. And now these two guys, they probably saw their friend being literally slaughtered by Match and Simon. Then they are quite shocked of that, because they never expected some serious combat here. They came just to arrest Alan. And what are they going to do? Well, their goal is to capture Alan, not to fight. So I think that Finn is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He will try to capture Alan from this side, and Martin will come from that side. So maybe they will be able to overrun him. And Gibbo. Gibbo will attack Friar Tuck. So that's all for the movement. And now we have a combat phase. Gibbo is attacking Friar Tuck. He has 10 versus 6. So it is 5-9. Sorry, 10 versus 4, so it's 6. And 5 in the 5-9, it is R1. So Friar Tuck runs away, and the Gibbo can move 4 hexes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's all for the sheriff's men, since none of them is stunned. And now we go to the Robin's men. Now, Cybold wants to get out, but Alan is blocking his path somehow, because you cannot stuck in this game. You can move through the hex with your with your unit on, but you cannot stay on the same hex. You can only have one unit on the one character on one hex. So I think that Alan is going to move first, and well, this direction is blocked by Martin. Here comes Finn. So I think that the best thing for Alan is to get somewhere here. But it might be dangerous, because he will have Gibbo and Finn as well. Well, I will try to do something like that. First of all, let's get Cybold out of here. Or maybe not. I still have some doubts what I'm going to do. Maybe 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Friar Tuck and Simon will try to hold Finn somewhere here. And Match will try to take care of Gibbo. 1, 2, 3. He's holding his hammer and tries to smash another dude. And Alan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I wonder if he will be... I believe that it might be not a very best idea, because if Gibbo will survive, he will be able to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here we go, Alan is captured. So you can see this is not an easy situation for Alan. What can I do? Seabolt will try to get out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's roll for his jumping out the window. He did it. 6, 7, 8. And now Alan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I will move Seabolt here. So they are now protecting Alan, because Sheriff's men cannot win if they are adjacent to Alan, but if they are also adjacent to any of the peasants. So I think this is the best way. And now Mildred, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because she has only 6 movement points. So that's all for them. And now let's resolve their attacks. So we have 11 versus 7, so it's +4. Oh, 8. I think this is nothing. 0, 4 and 8. Yeah, nothing happens. That's bad. And now Simon and Friar Tuck are attacking Finn. They have 7 and 7, so it's 14 versus 7, so it's 7. So we will use column of 5, 9, and +1 because we have 2 versus 1, so it's 10, 19. And 2 in the 10 and 19 is W. This means that Finn is wounded. So we have to replace him with the wounded counter. And that's all. Yeah, that's all. So this concludes turn 2. We are moving into turn 3. Okay, so Finn, sorry, Neil, Martin, oh, yeah, too many names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And Gibbo, 1, 2, 3. He doesn't care about Mildred because she's on the balcony. 4, 5. And Finn is going to stay where he is. So they are going to attack Seabolt because Seabolt is protecting Alan, and if they want to get out of him. So they have 20 versus 4, so it is 20 versus 4, it's 16, so it is 10, 19, +1 because of the 2 versus 1, so it's 20, 29, and 7 in the 20, 29, it is R1. So he has to retreat 1 hex, and he cannot. Why? Because you can run through the hexes with friendly units, but you cannot enter the hex that are adjacent to the enemy units. So he cannot run here. These are staircase. These are stairs, so he cannot because Gibbo is here. Same goes to that hex, Gibbo is here. And same goes to that hex because Martin is here. He cannot enter that hex because there is Alan here, so it would be overstacked. So he is wounded. And like I said, in this scenario, any wounded peasant is eliminated instantly. So he's wounded and Gibbo occupies his hex. And still they cannot arrest Martin because there is a Simon on the adjacent hex. And now Finn attacks Simon. He's wounded, so he has 5 versus 5, so it's 0. And he was happy, rolling 0. This means that Simon is wounded, and now because of that, Simon is removed from the game. And now Finn enters that hex, and you can see that Alan is now arrested. Why? because these guys are adjacent to Alan and they are not adjacent to any peasant. And because of that, Alan is not protected by their friends. Of course, there is Friar Tuck here who tries to wave his stick and drives them away, but he fails. So Alan is captured and took into sheriff's dungeon. So that's all when it comes to this play. Like I said, it was quite a fast scenario. It took about 4 turns to go. I don't think it is possible to play 12 turns like the scenario says. Well, maybe if you have a really good luck with or you have some really clever plan, maybe you can do it. But judging on my own experience, this scenario usually takes 4-6 turns to go. Sometimes even faster, sometimes a bit more, but never 12 turns. Trust me. So that's all when it comes to this play. Hope you enjoyed. Like I said, this game has quite a narrative vibe, and I tried somehow to show it to you in this game. I will probably play more because I really enjoyed this game. It's pretty easy, but funny and quick, and gives you this bit of RPG feel because you can see each character has its own counter. They have their names, and they are also taken from the real Robin Hood novels, movies, TV series, or stories. So if you enjoyed any of these, you might like this game much. So thank you for watching and see you next time.